Welcome back, everybody, to another huge day of NFL news, and trust me, this one is going to keep every Cowboys fan, every Eagles fan, and really every football fan glued to the screen, because what's been happening over the last 24 hours feels like it's straight out of a rivalry drama, the kind that writes itself in the weeks leading up to another showdown between two of the NFC's biggest heavyweights. We've got a situation where an Eagles offensive lineman appears to be taking some direct and indirect shots at the Dallas Cowboys, stirring up the flames of a rivalry that already burns hot. And at the same time, we've got two of the biggest names on the Cowboys roster, Trevon Diggs and rookie tackle Tyler Guyton, officially cleared to return to practice and potentially to game action. A development that could completely change the way Dallas lines up and competes in the next crucial stretch of season. This is not just a story, this is the kind of turning point that fans will look back on as one of those weeks where everything shifted, where talk met action, and where the rivalry got just that much nastier. So let's break this down from the top, because the timing here is everything. The Eagles are riding high, confident after their latest victory, sitting near the top of the NFC, with an offensive line that's widely regarded as one of the best in football. And in the midst of that confidence, a certain veteran lineman decided to speak to the media and dropped what sounded, to a lot of people, like subtle jabs aimed at Dallas. He didn't name names directly, but the tone and the content were unmistakable remarks about how certain teams talk a lot but don't back it up, about how some defensive backs are overrated, and how some young offensive linemen might be getting more hype than production. If you're a Cowboys fan, your ears immediately perked up, because that sounds an awful lot like a veiled reference to Trevon Diggs, the star cornerback who has been recovering from injury, and Tyler Guyton, the high-potential rookie tackle Dallas drafted to shore up the offensive front. Now in a league where bulletin board material can swing the mental edge, those kinds of comments are gasoline on an already burning rivalry fire. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Almost as if the football gods themselves decided to add a little cinematic timing, just as this story about an eagle throwing shade started to spread, the Cowboys got what might be their best news of the month. Trevon Diggs and Tyler Guyton were medically cleared to return. That's not just good news, that's season-changing news. Diggs, one of the league's premier ball-hawking cornerbacks, has been sorely missed in a secondary that's been battling to stay consistent. His ability to erase half the field, bait quarterbacks into mistakes, and turn defensive stands into instant offensive opportunities is game-breaking. Tyler Guyton, on the other hand, represents the future of Dallas's offensive line, a physical, athletic tackle who, if he steps in and plays at the level the team believes he can, will stabilize pass protection, keep Dak Prescott upright, and open lanes for Tony Pollard and the rushing attack that Dallas needs to fully unlock its playbook. Now picture this, the Eagles take a couple of shots, maybe thinking the Cowboys are limping, maybe believing they can assert dominance mentally before the next head-to-head meeting, but suddenly Dallas's roster gets stronger, not weaker. Suddenly, that locker room gets a shot of adrenaline. You better believe Mike McCarthy, Dan Quinn, and the entire coaching staff are not just noting those comments, they're using them. In pro football, pride is everything, and when a rival questions yours, it can flip a switch. This team, this franchise, with the star on the helmet and decades of history behind it, knows what it means to answer critics on the field. And now, with Diggs potentially locking down number one receivers again and Guyton stepping into a critical protection role, the Cowboys have every reason to believe they can answer in the best way possible by winning. But let's not pretend that this is just about what happens between the whistles. The rivalry between Dallas and Philadelphia is personal, emotional, and generational. It's not just players on the field, it's fans in both cities who circle the dates on the calendar months in advance, who fill stadiums and social media feeds with equal parts hope and venom, who treat these games like cultural events. When one side starts talking, even in coded terms, the other side responds. The Eagles have a swagger about them, they've earned it, they've been to the top recently, They have a locker room full of veterans who know what winning feels like. But Dallas is a proud franchise, a team that constantly lives under the brightest spotlight. And when you question them, when you question their stars, you invite a response that can turn a game into a statement. From a strategic standpoint, getting Diggs back allows Dan Quinn to open up the defensive playbook again. Coverage disguises, blitz packages, matchup flexibility, all of it changes when your elite corner is back in the lineup. It allows other defenders to play faster and freer, knowing they have trust in the secondary. On the offensive side, Tyler Guyton returning gives McCarthy and offensive line coach Mike Solari options they didn't have before. Maybe now they can shift veteran linemen back to their natural positions, improve the run-to-pass balance, and better protect Dak, which in turn means CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Jake Ferguson have more time to exploit coverages. It's the kind of domino effect that can transform not just a single game, but an entire season trajectory. And make no mistake, timing matters here because the Cowboys' next stretch of games is critical. They're staring at divisional matchups, tough NFC opponents, and the kind of mid-season gauntlet that separates contenders from pretenders. Having Diggs and Guyton back isn't just about adding talent, it's about momentum, morale, and message. It tells the locker room that reinforcements have arrived, that the team is getting healthier when it matters most, that they can line up and go toe-to-toe with anyone in the conference, including the very team that seems to be taking verbal swings at them right now. Fans are already reacting, and the energy online is electric. Cowboys fans are posting clips, quoting the Eagles lineman, and promising revenge. Eagles fans, on the other hand, are doubling down, claiming that nothing Dallas does will change the balance of power. And this is exactly what makes football great: the passion, the stakes, the pride, and the way that even words in a press scrum can light up an entire fan base like dry kindling catching a spark. By the time these two teams line up against each other again, you can bet every hit, every block, every route, and every defensive stand will feel heavier, meaner, more personal. For the players, this is about respect. Trevon Diggs, a player who has faced criticism before and answered it with Pro Bowl play, now has yet another reason to come back with a chip on his shoulder. Tyler Guyton, the rookie, hears the whispers about hype, about unproven potential, and now gets the chance to prove to the league, to the division, and maybe most importantly to himself, that he belongs, that he can be a cornerstone for this franchise. These are the moments careers pivot on. These are the storylines that, months later, get turned into highlight reels, into NFL Films documentaries, into the kind of "do you remember when" conversations fans have years down the line. And for now, all eyes turn to the practice field first, then the game field, to see how quickly Diggs shakes off the rust, how fast Guyton adapts to game speed again, and how the Cowboys coaching staff integrates them into schemes that have had to evolve in their absence. This isn't just about names on a roster, this is about chemistry, about trust, about the psychological warfare of sports at the highest level. Because sometimes the biggest battles aren't just between wideouts and corners or linemen and edge rushers, sometimes they're waged in press conferences, in locker room whiteboards, in the quiet moments when a team decides whether to let words sting or to let them fuel a fire that burns all the way to a statement victory. So buckle up, because this story is just beginning. An Eagle talked. A Cowboy healed. And the NFC East, already the most dramatic division in football, just found a new plot twist. We'll keep watching, because if history tells us anything, it's that neither side is going to stay quiet, either side is going to back down, and when these helmets clash on the field again, there will be more on the line than just standings. There will be pride, legacy, and the kind of bad blood that makes football irresistible. Stay tuned, hit that like button if you're fired up to see Diggs and Guyton back, subscribe for all the breaking updates as this rivalry heats up even further, and get ready, because this ride is far from over.